Why do so many smart, talented people feel quietly defeated, even as life gets more comfortable? In a world built for ease, we get lost in distractions, trade grit for comfort, and wake up wondering why our spirit feels fragile, stuck, or small. But the truth is even sharper. The comfort we chase doesn't just dull our edge, it quietly kills it. Each scroll, each shortcut, each moment we avoid discomfort is like water dripping on stone. It carves away our strength, not all at once, but in tiny, invisible losses. We become strangers to our own potential, wondering why simple things feel so heavy and a real challenge feels impossible. We weren't made to live padded lives. The ancient Stoics saw it coming centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." They didn't seek peace by avoiding storms. They walked into the fire using hardship as their forge, turning every obstacle into a training ground for character. If you're tired of drifting, of feeling like something inside you is fading, there's a way back. The Stoic roadmap isn't a promise of ease, but of unbreakable presence, raw power, and quiet confidence that doesn't depend on circumstance. In this video, you'll get 8 of the most brutal, clarifying Stoic laws, practical, proven, and built to help you reclaim your inner edge. Every lesson is a step back to yourself, not softer, but sharper, not anxious, but anchored. Welcome to Stoic Philosophy Daily, where your story matters. Share your struggles, breakthroughs, or doubts below. Every comment is a gift. We read with care, answer with heart, and treat your journey as our own. This is more than a channel, it's a circle of strength. If you're ready to build the kind of strength life can't shake, stay with me. What you learn here could change everything. 1. Face pain like a trainer. How many times today did you let yourself off the hook, just a little? Maybe you hit snooze for a few extra minutes, knowing you'd feel more rushed, but doing it anyway. Maybe you turned the shower hotter than usual, just because the air was chilly, even though a blast of cold would have woken you up sharper. Or perhaps you skipped your walk when the first drops of rain hit, thinking, "It's raining, nobody expects me to push through that." Or you avoided that uncomfortable conversation, convincing yourself it'll sort itself out, right? But here's what most people miss. Every small surrender, every shortcut, every skipped challenge, every time you run from a moment of discomfort adds up. Like a muscle that atrophies from disuse, your willpower and edge quietly shrink until real hardship feels impossible. The Stoics saw pain as the most honest trainer, brutal but invested in your strength. Marcus Aurelius didn't become calm by escaping difficulty. He wrote meditations while facing betrayal, disease, and chaos. His composure was hammered out, rep by rep, in the fire, not the armchair. Here's your challenge. Tomorrow, pick one small moment your easy voice tells you to skip. Let the water run cold for 10 seconds, even when you crave warmth. Walk somewhere you'd usually drive, even if it's raining. When your hand reaches for your phone, pause. Sit quietly with your thoughts for 2 minutes. If you dread a conversation, start it. These are not punishments. They're daily push-ups for your willpower, signals to your mind that you lead, not your moods or fears. Notice the psychological shift. At first, discomfort feels like an enemy. But as you train, you'll catch yourself feeling proud after each tiny win, your self-respect growing a little every day. Soon, what once felt intimidating becomes your new baseline. Grit isn't built in grand gestures, but in ordinary resistance to comfort. And as your mental muscle grows, the storms of life lose their power to break you. Discomfort is your training ground, not your enemy. At Stoic Daily, we believe every small act of courage builds a stronger you. What's one discomfort, big or small, you'll choose to face today? Share your commitment below, and remember, each tiny win means you're already becoming more unbreakable. 2. Stop being a slave to emotion. How many days have you let a single message, a careless glance, or a stranger's mood hijack your own? Maybe you snapped at someone just because you were tired, or replayed a comment in your head until it soured your whole day. It's almost like walking a minefield. Every tiny trigger has the power to blow up your mood unless you train yourself to see through the trap. Epictetus warned, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. If a post, a traffic jam, or someone's attitude can dictate your state, you're not in control. You've handed the keys to your inner world over to the outside. The Stoics didn't pretend emotions don't exist. They studied them patiently and relentlessly. Anger, envy, anxiety, sadness, they're not your enemy, they're signals. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." It's your story about the event, not the event itself, that shapes your experience. Here's your practice. The next time you feel a surge of anger, worry, or jealousy, don't just react. Pause for 10 seconds. Breathe in deeply, exhale slowly, and notice the urge to fire back or spiral. Ask, is this emotion helpful or just loud? Are you about to react or give an honest response? If you need to, step away before texting or replying. Your first instinct is rarely your best course of action. With each pause, you'll notice a subtle shift. The emotion passes, your sense of power grows. You're not bottling up feelings, you're training yourself to respond with intention, not impulse. Emotional control isn't coldness, it's the foundation of quiet confidence. You feel everything, but none of it rules you. Over time, people will sense your steadiness, even in the midst of chaos. At Stoic Daily, we believe real strength is feeling it all, but letting wisdom, not mood, take the wheel. What triggers you most? How will you handle it next time? Drop your answer below. Every pause is a win. 3. Let go of fairness. Have you ever poured everything into your work only to see the reward go to someone else? Or given your whole heart only to be left unseen or unchosen? Perhaps you did everything right, followed the rules, showed up, and tried your best, yet still ended up betrayed or overlooked. The reflex is instant. It's not fair. This reaction is hardwired into us. Since childhood, we've been fed the myth that reasonable effort guarantees good outcomes. But life isn't a scoreboard, and nature doesn't hand out prizes for trying. Storms hit the kind, while the dishonest sometimes rise, and hard work often goes unnoticed. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, life owes you nothing. Demanding fairness is secretly wishing for an easier path, hoping life will play nice. But life is a wild arena, not a gentle game. Lions don't apologize to antelopes. Storms don't pause for good intentions. The sooner you let go of fear, the sooner you get powerful. The Stoics didn't waste energy on complaints. Marcus Aurelius saw unfairness daily, yet he didn't let it shrink him. He replaced "why me" with "what now?" Every unfair blow became fuel. He trained himself to grow stronger, not more resentful, because endurance, not fairness, decides who stands tall in the end. Here's your challenge. Next time you get hit by something unfair, resist the urge to blame or spiral. Pause and ask, how can I use this? What lesson, strength, or resolve can I forge right now? Mainly because life isn't kind. Notice how your mindset shifts when you choose dignity over outrage. Every time you drop the victim script, you grow tougher, wiser, freer. Don't wait for life to be gentle. Train for the storm, respond with calm and action. Fairness is a wish, strength is a decision. At Stoic Daily, we believe freedom begins the moment you stop waiting for fairness and start embracing reality. When was the last time life felt unfair? What did you do? And how would you handle it differently now? Share your lesson below. 4. Focus on what you can control. How much energy did you waste today worrying about things you can't steer? Maybe you checked the weather 5 times, hoping the rain would stop, or scrolled through the news, feeling helpless about world events. Maybe you replayed arguments with someone who refuses to change, or tried to fix a problem that was never yours to solve. Here's the truth. Most of us spend our lives trying to command the storm when all we ever needed was to steer our own ship. Epictetus said it best: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. The Stoic doesn't waste energy trying to calm the sea. They grip the wheel tighter, choose their heading, and ride out the waves. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The world will always tempt you to fight unwinnable battles, debates online, other people's moods, and the chaos of things you can't predict. That's the fastest way to lose your clarity, your presence, your peace. So here's your challenge. The next time stress or frustration hits, stop and ask, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If not, let go. Letting go isn't weakness, it's what gives you your edge back. The act of release is the act of reclaiming your power. Try it for 1 week. When you catch yourself caught up in something you can't change, shift your focus. If you can't stop the rain, adjust your plan and show up anyway. If you can't control someone else's view, refine your own response. If the outcome is beyond your control, double your effort on what you can influence. The line between yours and not yours is the birthplace of freedom. Every time you stop fighting the storm and steer your own ship, your sense of control and calm grows a little more. Over time, this clarity becomes unshakable. At Stoic Daily, we believe peace comes from radical clarity. Focus on your ship, not the storm. What's one thing you'll let go of trying to control this week? Share it below and tell us what you'll focus on instead. 5. Choose hardship before life chooses it. When was the last time you chose the hard way on purpose? In a world built for comfort, almost everything pushes us toward the path of least resistance. Tap for food, scroll for distraction, shortcut through every challenge. Why wait? Why sweat? Why struggle? When the easy way is always 1 click away. But here's the truth most never face. Every comfort you take for granted quietly erodes your edge. The mind doesn't grow on the soft path, it shrinks. Each time you reach for ease, you make yourself a little more fragile, until the next real challenge feels impossible. The Stoics weren't satisfied with avoiding pain. They trained for it. Seneca slept on the floor, wore rough clothing, ate the simplest food, not as punishment, but as a test. He would ask himself, if I lost it all, would I survive? This wasn't self-denial for its own sake. It was mental armor, a way of proving I am not fragile, I can endure. You don't need to be an ancient Roman. However, you can choose to face minor hardships every single day. Try skipping a meal, not to punish yourself, but to show your mind that hunger is a feeling, not a threat. Get up before sunrise to prove you command your morning. Take a cold shower, breathe through the urge to escape. Say no to dessert, even when you crave it. These aren't just acts of willpower, they're proof to your subconscious. I don't wait for pain to find me, I train for it. At first, discomfort feels pointless. But as you practice, you'll notice the psychological shift. Each time you choose the hard thing, you chip away at fear and doubt. What once felt impossible now feels routine. The confidence you build by training for adversity is yours. Unshakable, not dependent on luck. The easy road weakens you. The hard road forges you. At Stoic Daily, we believe discipline is preparation, not punishment. Every step you take into voluntary hardship is an act of freedom. What hardship, big or small, will you choose this week? Share it below. Every step makes you stronger. 6. Detach from outcomes. Love the process. Have you ever given your all to a project, a workout, or a relationship, only for it to be ignored, criticized, or met with silence? Maybe you shared something that mattered and the world barely blinked. Perhaps you trained relentlessly and no one noticed. When you hang your self-worth on results you can't control, disappointment creeps in and motivation fades. Marcus Aurelius said, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." The Stoics understood. Outcomes are always uncertain. Applause can be late or never arrive. Results get lost, misunderstood, and delayed. The only thing that's truly yours is your effort, your consistency, your integrity in the moment. Here's the Stoic pivot. Detach from the outcome. Fall in love with the process itself. Show up for the work, not for the reward. Write for the lesson, not for the likes. Train for discipline, not for admiration. Love fully because that's who you are, not because you're chasing someone's validation. Your practice this week. Pick an area that matters. Your work, fitness, relationships, or learning. Commit fully to your process, not the promise of a perfect outcome. Every time you finish, pause and ask, did I bring everything I had intended to get? Did I honor my standard, regardless of the result? As you do this, notice the shift inside. Stress fades, resentment dissolves, and satisfaction grows. You become immune to disappointment and addicted to the pursuit of mastery itself. The process becomes your reward. You find yourself winning long before the results are counted. At Stoic Daily, we believe mastery is found in the love of the daily reps, not just the trophy at the end. Where in your life will you show up for the process, not just the result? Share below. Your discipline inspires the community. 7. Embrace death. Live with urgency. How often do you bargain with time? I'll travel when I'm older. I'll reach out when I'm less busy. I'll start my real life after things settle down. Maybe you've let the sunset fade behind a window, promising yourself tomorrow, or put off reconnecting with an old friend, thinking, we've got plenty of time. But the harshest truth is this: tomorrow is never promised. Marcus Aurelius warned, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. The Stoics didn't dwell on death to be grim. They practiced memento mori as a call to presence, a reminder that every day spent waiting is a day lost forever. Seneca was blunt. It's not that life is short, it's that we waste much of it. What do we lose by waiting? Regret, unfinished dreams, words never spoken. The illusion of someday is the thief of now. If you're always waiting for the right moment, you risk missing your life while it's happening. So here's the Stoic pivot. What if you treated today as urgent, as if every hour was your last, and every word, every choice mattered? Call that friend. Try the thing that scares you. Write the message. Forgive, begin, confess, dare, love. Don't let the clock decide when you start living. Move now with purpose. With urgency, you'll find your days expand. Every moment sharpens. You stop settling for good enough and start asking, what would I do if this were my only chance? The courage to live urgently isn't recklessness. It's gratitude in action. Every small choice becomes a declaration that your life is too precious to waste. You don't need more time. You need to make today count. At Stoic Daily, we believe purpose begins when you stop waiting for the right moment and start living as if time is finite. If you had just one day to change your life, what would you do? Share it below. Every hour is a test. Will you settle for comfort or choose meaning? When you live with urgency, you reclaim your days from the waiting room of someday. But in the end, real strength is found not in applause, but in living by what matters most, even if no one else notices. Ready for the last step? Let's talk about becoming a warrior for virtue, not approval. 8. Be a warrior for virtue, not approval. How much of your life is spent chasing approval? Maybe you catch yourself editing your words for more likes, saying yes when you want to say no, or worrying what others think. Friends, bosses, strangers. Most people build their days around applause, always hoping for that hit of "you're amazing" or a nod from someone whose opinion barely matters. But what happens when the applause stops? Who are you when the world isn't watching? Marcus Aurelius put it simply, just do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. The Stoics moved for principle, not praise. True strength isn't measured in followers, but in the standards you refuse to betray, even when it costs you. Seneca wrote, "I will govern my life and thoughts as if the whole world were to see the one and read the other." Living for virtue means doing what's right when it's hard, when it's lonely, when there's no applause, keeping your word, speaking truth, and pushing for excellence, not for recognition, but because it's your duty to yourself. Here's the danger. Live for approval, and you become a mirror, bending, shifting, forever chasing someone else's reflection. But live for virtue, and you become a mountain, steady, unmovable, defined by your values, not someone else's opinions. Try this. This week, say what you mean, even if it's unpopular. Stick to your word, even if no one thanks you. Do good work quietly. Refuse to compromise your standards for applause. Every time you do, you lay another stone in the foundation of an unshakable life. Approval fades, character endures. At Stoic Daily, we believe absolute respect begins when you live for your values, not the crowd. What's one value you refuse to bend, no matter who's watching? Drop it below. Your example serves as a blueprint for others to follow. Build strength, brick by brick. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin right now. Every choice, every small act of courage is another brick in the fortress of your inner strength. One day at a time, you'll look back and realize you're no longer easily shaken. You've become unbreakable, not by chance, but by building yourself decision after decision, day after day. The work isn't loud, it's not always glamorous, but every disciplined act, every moment you choose your principles over comfort, is another stone set in place. Over time, those stones become a fortress, solid, weathered, unmovable. If today's message sparked something in you, don't let it fade with the next distraction. Like, share, and drop a comment below. I choose strength. Your story matters here, and your journey inspires this whole community. At Stoic Daily, we believe greatness is built quietly, one brick at a time, day by day. The only thing missing is your next step, so take it now. Before you go, hit subscribe and explore the other lessons waiting for you here on Stoic Daily. Every video is a step forward, every insight another brick in your foundation. Let's keep building together. Stoic Philosophy Daily.